Chapter 33. Steve woke first, temporarily oblivious of how abruptly the evening had ended. The sun was rising, and although it was only 6 in the morning, it didn't feel early. It was 10 o'clock at home, and he wondered what he was missing at work and what Tina would do to his bands whilst he was gone. He fixed the first coffee of the morning and noticed that the balcony door was open. Parts of the evening were starting to slowly come back to him, but not all of it. He couldn't remember Isla leaving. Isla! Wow! What a woman! He changed out of his crumpled clothes and put on a robe, heading towards the balcony to catch the early morning view of the fishing boats chugging away from the bay. He suddenly caught sight of her in a balcony lounger. His heart started banging like the rusty engines on one of the departing boats. Isla lay fast asleep, and Steve instinctively tightened his open robe which had hung loosely from him before putting his hand on her shoulder. She stirred, turning her mouth into a smile as her eyes started to open, before slowly adjusting to see Steve standing next to her. Unlike him, she had full recollection of what had happened a few hours before, and the morning after she'd almost given herself to him, she had no regrets. Their mutual smile confirmed it would not be too long before they resumed where last night had been left. Steve spoke first. "Morning, Snoozy. Is that dribble coming from your mouth?" Isla sat up nervously, wiping at her mouth before Steve's smile confirmed he'd been joking. "Ha, very funny, Steve. And as for Snoozy, what about you, Mr. Sleep on the floor?" "I'm so sorry. I guess everything just caught up with me. Are you annoyed?" "I stayed, so you figure it out. I hope you don't mind that I stayed here, but you had a balcony, great rum, and some good tunes playing. All things I didn't have in my room. I hope you're okay with me taking advantage of your hospitality." "Of course. If you could leave me some money out as you head off, though, it'd be really appreciated. These rooms don't come cheap. Look, I really am sorry. I have no idea what happened. It's not the first time I've just crashed when I'm out of the battery, but never in front of someone. The sentence faded away before C said something he meant. "The last thing I remember was being appalled at you not knowing who the Toots and Maytals are. I listened to them until I fell asleep, and you're right, it's incredible stuff. Have they done much else?" "Only about 20 other albums. You want to listen to some more? We don't have much time together, and I'd love to spend the day with you. Music and coffee for now, or do you want to go for breakfast?" Isla stood up, and Steve could easily read her mood. They had one day, and they were both glad they would not waste the morning working up the courage to say that they wanted to spend it together. "I absolutely want breakfast, and I absolutely want to spend the day with you. What did you have in mind?" "Out there." Steve pointed to the Caribbean Sea a few yards away. "Fancy getting on a catamaran and seeing the island from a different angle?" "My treat." With a plan agreed, Isla nipped back to her room to freshen up and pack for the day. "Come back here when you're ready. I'll get breakfast sent up." Steve smiled. He wanted to treat her. There was no lingering disappointment about the premature end to the evening, and he freshened up while he waited for her to get back. As well as the beaches, there was the hotel pool, and Steve loved the water more than the gym when it came to exercise. Isla returned to the suite refreshed, and they ate a newly harvested pineapple on the balcony as Steve talked more about the thrilling history of Barbadian music. He was in his element. He was happiness personified. "So while you were away, I spoke to the man on reception, and he's already sorted us out with a boat trip. He called his cousin. Of course he called his cousin, and has managed to get us a boat out all to ourselves. I figured that we've only got a day, and I didn't want to go on one of those loud ones with 50 people drinking all-inclusive the whole time. This one is private, if you're okay with that." Isla wasn't given a moment to respond before Steve carried on. "I hope you are, because we're picked up in an hour. I'm not used to such shoddy treatment, and while the company isn't up to much, there's no other boys to play with. I guess I'll have to make do with you." Steve and Isla were as one, always on the wind-up, and full of wonderful sarcasm, banter, and laughter. "Are you ever serious, Isla? You have to find out, won't you? And on the subject, given you never finished that rum last night, how about an early morning snifter to get the day started on the right foot?" Steve was way ahead of her, producing an ice bucket from underneath the breakfast trolley with a bottle of Veuve champagne and 2 flutes on ice. "Mind reader?" "It wasn't a tough read, Isla. We're in Barbados, it's sunny, we're about to spend the day together. How else could the day kick off, if not with champagne? Except, maybe with a kiss? In that case, cheers for the champagne, and thank you for last night. It was lovely. As for the kiss, I reckon you need to earn that." "And how do I earn it, if not by giving you the gift of the Toots and a glass of Veuve?" "Okay, you've earned it. Come here then, darling." "Darling, I like that." Steve stood up and moved towards her. For the first time that morning, the nerves were back. As their hands joined, the telephone rang.